hopefully today will help us immensely as we move ourselves forward.
Yeah, we've all taken turns at um, talking about the offensive line, criticizing the offensive line. Rocco did not. He stayed upright all day, right?
Yeah, I think again
Against that rush.
I think you got to remember that that's it's not just. I think when you look at the rushing game, how people are playing you is it's a different animal, and it's certainly been different over the course of the last 3 years. I think what we want to do at times, and people are trying to take that away from you, and so I think the thing that was really positive today in a Big 12 conference football game, taking care of the football, proving that you can move the football down the field, and having playmakers on the perimeter that can make some of those plays. And so I think that'll certainly, give us all some confidence moving ourselves forward, and I think that was huge.
What does it say, too, about Rocco? This first time the game's been put on his
Yeah.
shoulders to respond with a game like that.
Yeah, you just feel like he's been growing into that, and earning the right to be able to do those things. And, I think that as the head coach, you want to put your players in the best position to be successful. And I feel like I know we're a team that usually grows as the season grows. And part of that is just trying to understand who your team is, what's your identity, what gives you the best opportunity to have success, especially as young as we are as a football team. And, I think, again, Rocco, the way he's played the first 3 weeks, to me, he's just stacked confidence, not only himself. I think he would tell you he's stacked great confidence, but, just how he practices, his process to get better week in and week out. All those things are starting to show up, and I think it gives you great confidence, man, how you need to go win the football game. But huge step forward, and obviously we know that's a really good defense and a very veteran defense to be able to do it against.
I know you would prefer to be able to run the ball better, but when you have a game like today, what does that show your guys in your locker room that you can win a different way, and for Oklahoma having to prepare for you guys next week?
Well, great teams, you got to find the pace of the game, right? I think, and you guys that have covered us, when we've been at our best, we have been able to try to figure out what's the pace of the game, and then how do we make adjustments throughout the football game. And honestly, give Coach Shieldhouse a lot of credit today. I thought, kind of maybe even where we thought we were going to be in the game and our ability to quickly adapt. I thought did a great job. Even Coach Haycock, kind of what we thought they may do. Then the game kind of flipped a little bit, and we had to make some changes. Man, how many young guys you saw out? Tayshaun James plays for the first time today. Brendan Black plays on the offensive line, so you still got a bunch of these young pups that are, really coming in handy with some guys that are dinged up and down, and really played great football for us. So I tip my hat to our coaching staff because they had to prepare a lot of guys and did a great job of it for sure.
I asked Coach Shieldhouse on Tuesday about Rocco's clip at throwing a deep ball. I know it's a small sample size so far. Was today the day where he kind of, not necessarily to you, but proved it to everybody that he's really proficient in that category? And how big were Daniel Jackson and Jalen Nolan?
Yeah. Well, football has earned confidence, right? Our sport is one of those where it's so unique. You only play 12 games, right? And, the reality of it becomes you really earn the right to be confident in football games and the ability to do it in critical situations in the moment. And, again, I think the second half of the last 2 weeks games where Rocco's really pressed the envelope vertically through the football down the field, made some plays. I think you just see his confidence growing and his ability to do those things. And, we certainly have great confidence and really haven't wavered in terms of, his growth and where he's got the ability to lead our football team. But I do think what was big is, what you said, Daniel Jackson. I mean, that kid's story is fascinating, right? I mean, from his junior year in high school, has a near-death accident, doesn't know if he's ever going to play football again. Two, I know I've talked about him, I mean, man, he's been injured for 2 out of his 3 seasons here and has had flashes of brilliance, and, it's been taken away from injury. And mentally what that can do to an 18 to 22-year-old is paralyzing. And for him to be so mentally tough to stay the course, I don't know if I could be prouder or happier for a young man, because ultimately that is the winning coaching, right? I mean, winning those are great, but seeing a young man like that really win, that's huge. And so he's doing it. And obviously Jalen, we know what he's got the ability to do, and it was great to see him back healthy. We certainly missed him a week ago, and it was great to have him back at full strength.
Coach, after you guys lost to Iowa, you talked about the emotional need the team would need to show to come back and bounce back, and I don't think they did that to the standard you would have liked at Ohio. And another tough loss. Do you feel like you guys bounced back the way you would have liked in practice this week?
Yeah, you know, and I'll be honest with you. I thought we practiced really well last week. You know, I wasn't disappointed in terms of that. I really think part of our growth as a young football team, you know, if you look at the game last week, you're not disappointed in how we played. You're disappointed in maybe some of the detail and precision. I'm probably more disappointed in myself that maybe coached, you know, afraid to cost us the game instead of going to win the football game. And so I feel like our young team, you know, it's earning the right to go win the game rather than sitting back and, man, trying to not screw the game up. And so, man, but disappointed in our kids' effort? Nah, I wasn't disappointed last week. And, man, I thought we had a great week, another great week of practice. I think it tells you the character of our team to be able to do what they did today.
From a leadership perspective, what did you kind of see from some of the players that you expect that out of this week and bouncing back from last
Well,
week's loss?
You know, I mean, it's like the guys who played really well today, you know, who practices great for us. TJ Tampa's, man, he's been a warrior here. And to make the play of the game, to win the game, I mean, what Bo's done in terms of one of the best leaders we've had here. J.R. Singleton has really become a great leader in that defensive line room. I had a huge sack in the football game. Man, you flip over, Jalen, you get voted as a captain as a junior. You know, I mean, man, him stepping up in critical moments. And then, you know, Rocco. I mean, honestly, you're going to be great on offense when that guy has elite leadership ability, and that guy takes the reins and demands the lead with courage and character. And honestly, you know, he's doing a great job so far, and it won't always be easy. I mean, it's a position where, you know, there'll be great things written about you today, but, you know, it can flip in a dime, and you got to have the character, whether it's really good or really bad, man, to stand up and lead the right way. And at least so far, he's proven to do that, and I'm really proud of him.
Coach, what happened to Cartavius Norton, and how did that affect the rushing attack?
Yeah, it didn't affect us at all. So I think he'll be all right. It looked like maybe a little bit of a stinger. But, man, how about Eli Sanders? I mean, boy, oh, boy, I thought he was tremendous. And, you know, it was great to get him back. Man, it'll be fun to watch it, see where we're at. I think we're a lot closer than farther. And but, yeah, I thought, obviously Cartavius, I think, will be back at full strength next week, hopefully.
The big play bit you a little bit early on, but what'd you think of the adjustments? I thought in the second half, save the touchdown, it really kind of locked things down there.
Yeah, you know, again, you know, this is one of the most skilled teams in our conference, and they've got elite receivers, really great tight ends, really great tailbacks. I know we talked a little bit about that Tuesday. Veteran quarterback that's played a ton of football. So, you know, I think, you know, Coach Aycock, our staff on defense, we tweaked it a little bit just kind of with where they were trying to attack us. I thought we made really good adjustments. You're right, the play at the end on fourth down, we had a chance to make it. We didn't. But, you know, I think there's collectively on all three phases of the game, obviously there's still a lot for this football team to improve on. We will, and it'll be fun to kind of get back at it.
What do you think?
Go ahead.
What do you think Gundy's thinking right now? 2018, you had a quarterback game. Today, you got a quarterback game, young quarterback.
Yeah.
What do you think Gundy is now?
I don't know. Great football coach, though. You know, I respect the heck out of him.
Sorry to harp a little bit more on Rocco, but two things I noticed today. When throwing to spots, trusting his teammates to get there
Yeah.
in some key moments, and they sent guys late on him a few times, and he hung in there, whether he threw it away and needed to or got a completion. Can you comment on those aspects?
Yeah, I just think, Rob, collectively, his ability to manage the football game today was elite. You know, you're talking about two of the best pass rushers in our conference, maybe the best pass rusher in the conference. And for him to sit in there and honestly, you know, I think our offensive line did a really good job at times against those guys. But his ability to stand in there, take care of the football, you know, really do a great job of having poise. You know, I thought he came back to a couple plays or two touchdown plays that we had run prior to, and the read was a little bit cloudy. And his ability to recall it and come back and want to come back to that play I thought was awesome. And, you know, those are two huge touchdowns in the football game. So I think, again, his maturity, even having comfort in the offense, the ability to say, hey, I really like that, let's come back to that. Those are things that you want to see as the head football coach, and you want to have those conversations with your quarterback.
And Malik wasn't out there. Curious what was wrong with him,
Yeah.
and whether there's a timetable.
Yeah, so Malik, my hope would be back this coming week. You know, he about midway through the third quarter last week, you know, had a strain. You know, I think he really was getting better as the week went. You know, Darian Porter was in the same boat. I think both those guys just weren't ready to go. But we really feel like those guys, you know, and hopefully we'll have those guys. We'll need them both. Tyler Moore, same thing. had a strain last week. He got hurt in the first quarter of the game last week. So I think Tyler will be back. He really progressed throughout the football week, so it would be huge to get him back as well. Yeah, I think obviously a win helped that whole situation, but I think for him, Gary's as tough as they come, and I would say Gary probably was at 80-85%, and he's a warrior. For him to go do what he did, I think a little bit of an exhaustion, and I don't feel like he re-injured anything. I think he's a tough cookie, and that was he made a great play on that play. Was just a yard short.
Talk about responses. What'd you like about Chase Contreras' response today, going 2 for 2 from field goals, 4 for 4 on PATs?
Yeah, well, I think I said this earlier in the season, and maybe right before we got started. One of the things I really like about Chase is, when you're a veteran and you've gone through the ups and downs of the kicking game, and it's not easy. You've got to have mental toughness, and he's got great mental toughness. Again, he's been in this arena. He's had success. He's had failures. He's had to work through it. But man, he's a great weapon for us. He was huge today, and those weren't easy field goals. I mean, you're into the south, and against the wind, and for him to hit those, that was awesome. And yeah, really proud of him. Really excited for him because we're going to need him, and he's a great weapon for us.
Hey, Coach, so I want to talk more about the defense. Obviously, Oklahoma State earlier in the game, the big plays, the big run, first scored their first touchdown, and the second one in the pass. What were your thoughts on the way your defense is able to bounce back throughout the rest of the game to limit those big plays and just stop their scoring?
Yeah, I think it goes back to a little bit of, knowing what our identity is. You're going to – things will happen, and you got to have the ability to adjust. That's what makes great coaches, and that's what makes great teams, is the ability to adjust within the football game. And, obviously Coach Haycock is as good as they get. And I think his staff being together for so long, creating adjustments within the system certainly helps us immensely. And we were able to do that in the second half. And I give a lot of credit to our kids and our leadership. They've got the ability to understand what those adjustments are and make them. And we did a great job of that today. All right, guys. Thank you.